The following is the knowledge I've used to successfully break my addictions to the green stuff and video games, but it will work for anything. I still partake in these activities occasionally because this method does not involve quitting anything forever. It's all about getting free from the hold they have over you. You first need to understand where these crazy urges come from. Once you understand this, they begin to lose their power over you. An addiction is a response to your negative emotions.
I guess I'm a pretty sick guy.
There is either something missing from your life, or something bad happens to you which causes you to feel sad, angry, bored, or some disagreeable state. In response to this grim mind space, you self-medicate yourself with your addiction to make yourself feel better. This explains why when we experience an engaging adventure, or we start dating someone new, our urges dramatically decrease. Eventually, you need to work on yourself to get to the root of the problems in your life. We'll get into this later, but before that, let's learn how to deal with your addiction right now. And a disclaimer. In the next section, I talk about what has worked for me. For severe cases or highly dangerous substances, the end goal could be to completely stop. This is a decision you need to make for yourself. This next piece of advice is not very common, but it's the basis for this method. You aren't going to quit your addiction. Trying to completely quit your addiction gives it too much power.
They did some major damage on you, huh?
What you need to stop immediately, though, is indulging in your addiction as a response to emotional pain. This means you can schedule a time in the future to play that game or scroll on social media. What you can't do is all of a sudden decide to give in to your urges because you don't feel good. Remember, this is a marathon, not a sprint. You will fail. I failed hundreds of times, but eventually I got better at withstanding temptation. View failing as part of the process of quitting. The key thing is to start again tomorrow. Okay, so let's say you're going to abstain for 3 days. This is the game plan. First, get whatever your vice is out of your sight. Either put it in a lockbox like this one, or make sure you can't access it. You also need some replacement activities that are fun, but less stimulating so your brain can readjust to enjoying everyday life. Attempt to get in 3 30-minute cardio sessions a week and eat less carbs and higher protein. This will help boost your natural dopamine levels. There are 2 specific things that are going to help you a lot that I need to mention. You need to read this book, Alan Carr's The Easy Way to Stop Smoking. I know it's a weird title, but it's one of the craziest books ever. A good number of people completely drop smoking cigarettes after reading it. Essentially, the book makes you realize that you probably don't enjoy your addiction. All we are doing is trying to get that dopamine hit to get back to a baseline level that keeps getting lower and lower. Read this book over the next couple of days. You also need to practice urge surfing. You become aware of this painful urge and you ride it out like you're riding a wave with a surfboard. Don't distract yourself from the craving, experience it. You'll find that in 20 to 40 minutes, the urge will decrease. And the more you do this, the better you will get at it. During these challenging times, you need to keep mentally coming back to the primary reason you are doing this. Make sure your why is highly motivating to you. At the same time you are practicing controlling your response to urges, you also need to address the root causes of your addiction. This is the permanent cure. The quickest way to nip this problem at the bud for a lot of you will be this. If you can find a true purpose in your life, then it's possible it could completely eliminate your reliance on your vices. This happens because you will naturally become happier and your time will be taken up by something you truly enjoy. In the past, I was at my best when I was actively working on film projects because that was my purpose in life. Here's the issue though. This isn't always a cure-all. When I didn't have anything to work on, or when one of my films or commercials I made wasn't successful, then it would send me right back into an unhappy place, along with the addictions that stemmed from it. For those of you with a traumatic past, not only will you need to find a passion in your life, but you will also need to understand where all these negative emotions originated. The first step is to identify exactly when trauma occurred, which might take psychotherapy, meditation, psychedelics, or any other number of modalities. You might even already know that your abusive parent messed you up, or if all the bullying you experienced had a detrimental impact on your development. When you experience trauma when you are young, it usually manifests when you are older as anxiety or depression. Most of the time, you don't even know why you feel so crummy. You wake up in the morning and feel horrible. You dread going out to a certain social event. You have a general sense of unease. I personally still deal with these issues, but there are specific things that have made a huge difference for me. Here they are. Meditation has taught me to be aware that my feelings do not need to control me. I also believe that certain forms of meditation release trauma held in the body. Breathwork, especially Leah Lagos' method that she lays out in this book, has been extremely effective at calming my nervous system. I also believe that it too releases trauma stored in your body. Psychedelics provided valuable insight into my psyche. Intentional inoculation has also helped me a great deal. I put myself in uncomfortable situations and have learned not to be so triggered.
So awkward.
Realizing that I have a hunter personality type, or what is commonly diagnosed as ADHD, explained a lot of the challenges I needed to overcome. The book, The Drummer and the Great Mountain by Michael Joseph Ferguson, explains it all. Now that you know that it's very likely your addictions come from your past, you can begin to search for solutions yourself. There are hundreds of ways to deal with this issue. So to recap, slowly build a tolerance to your urges and embrace failure. Find a purpose in your life which will dramatically decrease your urges. And finally, heal internally, which will eventually cure your addictions. I really hope you begin your journey right now. It will be hard at first, but if I did it, I know you can too.